All right, so let's do 3A. First question in your homework. Many of you have done this already, but let's just go over this one. 3A and B are very similar, both using sine law, looks like. How do I know that? Because the angle that's given is, in this case, is angle x, and I want to know the opposite side, and I'm given the hypotenuse. So, ka toa. Remember that? So ka toa. So we want to do so sine, you just fill everything in now. 50 goes with the sine here, sine of 50, equals opposite x over hypotenuse, which is opposite the 90, over 4. So I multiply both sides by 4, and I get rid of the 4 on the bottom on the right. It pops up over here on the top on the left. And so I get on my calculator, and turn that on, hit clear, and I'll do 4 sine 50. Make sure your calculator's in degrees. You should get, looks like 3.06. So the nearest tenth is 3.1. X equals 3.1. Make sure you have your units. Centimeters. Okay. Anybody get 3.1 centimeters for 3A? Yeah? Okay, good. Good. I did it right then. Okay. All right, 3B, it's very similar. I'll do this in blue. So I have an angle here. I am looking for the opposite side, and I'm given the hypotenuse. Opposite hypotenuse, sine of 30 degrees equals opposite, which is W over hypotenuse, which is 3. Multiply both sides by 3, and I've got W equals 3 sine 30. You might remember what sine 30 is. Maybe you don't, but 3 times sine 30, it's 1.5. So sine 30 is 1/2. You might do well to remember that. But we have 1.5 and the units centimeters. Okay, that looks, everything looks okay there. That's about a 30-degree angle. W is about half of the hypotenuse here. So everything looks reasonable. Okay, so that's number 3.
Are we supposed to do B?
What's that?
Are we supposed to do B?
I don't know, is it part of your assignment?
No.
I'm not going to do all of your assignment for you.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, no, B wasn't, I mean, if you did it with me, great, you did it, a little extra work. Remember, this is the bare minimum assignment that I think you can do to get by, just barely get by. If you're having any problems at all, you should do more. Like if this is not easy for you, do more. Do more questions. Like that's the way homework works. I just kind of give you sort of the rock bottom. This is what I think you need to do to be successful. So yeah, no, B was not part of your assignment, but we didn't do a sine one yesterday. So, all right. Oh boy, what's going on here? All right, so I'll do one from 4 as well. So 4A, I'll do 4A and B. Determine the length of each indicated side to the nearest tenth of a centimeter. So very similar. Let's see what trig function we need to use for this one. Okay. So looking for the side length, nearest tenth. I'm given the angle 72, and I'm asked to find M, which is the adjacent, right? Adjacent side. And I'm given the hypotenuse side. So that is ka. So I'm going to fill in that cosine of 72 degrees equals adjacent M over hypotenuse 5.5. These are really simple ones. This is just like one-steppers here. Multiply both sides by 5.5. I get M equals, do that on your calculator, 5.5 times cos 72. 1.6995 to the nearest tenth would be 1.7. And that's going to be units of centimeters. Just a couple notes while you're doing your work here, please. I noticed on the test or quiz or whatever it is I just marked of yours, which I'll get back later. Some of you, everybody listening? Everybody listening? Everybody listening? This is just the tips for the quizzes and tests. Please don't be circling more than one answer on your tests. So don't, like, this is very simple. Don't be circling more than one thing. only circle or highlight, square, whatever, highlight your final answer, okay? Because many of you were like, oh, I did this step, done. Okay, did this step, done. Did this step, done. Here's the final answer, done. I had like 4 things circled. So I know what the correct answer is, but I need to know that you know what the correct answer is and where you're done, okay? So just highlight your final answer, whether it's a word, sentence, or a value or whatever. So don't circle more than one thing, okay? Also remember units, including degrees. If you say angle A is 72, you're gonna lose marks because you're not putting any units there, okay? So units, circle one answer, show work that would reasonably allow me to see that you fully know what you're doing. Okay? So, good. Okay, I just want to make mention of that. And again, I think I'll be returning something to you soon here. Maybe those quizzes, whatever you just wrote. But let's do B. I'll do B in black here. All right, so I got angle 41, and I am dealing with 2 sides. That is the adjacent side to 41 looks like, and the hypotenuse. So that's ka, right? Cosine. So cosine of 41 degrees equals adjacent side over hypotenuse. Again, this is very easy. Multiply both sides by 4.2. And we get J equals 4.2 times cos 41 equals 3.1697 or 3.2 centimeters. Okay, those looking good to you guys? Any problems with that? 4A, you should have done 4A in your book. Anybody done 4A and get 1.7? That's good? Okay, excellent. So 5A, determine the length of each indicated side to the nearest tenth of a centimeter. The indicated side here is the hypotenuse, so this is going to be a little bit different than the last ones we did. Which trig function we're going to use? We're going to use sine or cosine or tangent. Which one? Well, let's see. This angle here, I am concerned with 2 sides, and the one side length is this side, which is the adjacent side, and this is the hypotenuse. So again, we are looking at cosine. So I'll fill out my values in. Cosine of 57 degrees equals the adjacent side, 13.8, over the hypotenuse, m. Now when the variable is in the denominator, there's going to be 2 steps you're going to have to do, right? So you're going to have to multiply both sides by m, which brings the m up there. And then you're going to have to divide both sides by cos of 57. So really, in effect, you end up with this. M equals 13.8 over cos 57. Now let me just back that up. Okay, look at this again. What ends up happening is the M and the cos of 57 end up switching places, right? So after all is said and done, let me go look at this. Okay, so multiply both sides by M. The m's are gone on the right, and I divide by cos of 57 degrees, and the cos of 57 degrees is gone on the left, and I'm left with m equals. So really they can just switch spots across the equal sign. One from the bottom, if it's a single ratio on the one side and a single ratio on the other side, the bottom and the top can just switch places. That's a shortcut you're going to use 1,000 times before you're done school here. Okay, so you might want to just see that and be able to do that. So you can go directly from, your cos expression to this solving for m here, and then do that. So 13.8 divided by cos 57. Looks like 25.337, or to the nearest tenth, 25.3. Oops. 25.3. The units are centimeters. Okay. So just to be clear, what you should have for full complete work is cos 57 degrees equals 13.8 over m. Then you can move directly to this step. Then you can move directly to this step. Okay, and that's what your work would look like. Okay, that's a full full mark question there. 1/10 of a centimeter. Again, a lot of you aren't paying attention to the question in your tests and quizzes as well. When it says nearest 10th, I need to the nearest 10th, okay? I know it's a little thing, but again, I need you to be reading the questions carefully, because when you get to calculus, if you don't read the question carefully, you're going to do a whole page of work and you're going to circle your answer and feel good about yourself, but then you're going to realize, hey, this is actually not what the question was asking me, and you're not going to get full marks. So just read the question carefully and get into the habit of, when you're done, go back and read the question carefully and make sure it matches with your answer. All right? All right, number 8 is also in your assignment. I just had a question about that. I'm not going to do the whole thing, but I'll get you started on it. When you see a question like this that doesn't give you a diagram, it just gives you a pretty little picture here, you're going to want to draw a diagram. Okay? You won't be able to make good sense of the question without a diagram. You won't be able to identify clearly what you're looking for without a diagram. So please draw a diagram. Don't try and work it all out in your head. So a ship is sailing off the north coast of Queen Charlotte Islands. At a certain point, the navigator in the ship, that's the navigator is the person that is setting the direction for the ship, sees the lighthouse at Langara Point. That is due south of the ship. So here's the ship right here. Due south, you need to know your directions, right? North, east, south, west. Never eat shredded wheat. That was the memory, although I like shredded wheat. That's what I remembered when I was a kid. I don't know. Never eat soggy wieners. I don't know. Anybody else have any memory mnemonics there for the directions? Never enter Santa's washroom. Okay.
It's one I've heard.
That's one you've heard before. Okay. That might be easy to remember, yeah. It's a little disturbing, but okay. All those so are soggy wieners, I get it. Okay, so due south of the ship, guess what? We're going to draw a straight vertical line because we're thinking about a map. So due south is straight south. Due south of the ship. Doesn't give you a distance here. The ship then sails 3.5 kilometers due east. So the ship then sails 3.5 kilometers due east. So we are dealing with a right triangle here because the directions on the map are, right, the lines are perpendicular to each other. So here's where we get our right triangle. The angle between the ship's path, okay, so here's the ship. It's moving this way, right? So the angle between the ship's path and the line of sight to the lighthouse. Here's the lighthouse down here, right? So the line of sight from the ship's path to the lighthouse is, so we're completing the triangle here, is 28.5 degrees to the nearest 1/10 of a kilometer. How far is the ship from the lighthouse? So when you start doing this, think this is a top view of the map, let's say, okay? So if you were literally on the ship, okay, so let's see, to where you guys are northeast. Okay, so I'm on the ship and I'm facing east. I look due south and there's the lighthouse over there. Now I keep sailing. So the line of sight to the lighthouse now is 28.5 degrees. Is it going to be 28.5 degrees from where? Is it going to be 28.5 degrees from this horizontal over here? Because 28.5 degrees is like here. Am I looking at the lighthouse if I look 28.5 degrees from here? Am I looking at the lighthouse? No. The only one that makes sense is if you look back to your path, 28.5 degrees here. Does that make sense? So if you're wondering, I was like, this doesn't make sense because 28.5 degrees, it gives me a line over here. No. Looking back. It's got to be looking back. That's the only way it makes sense in the question. So, okay. And what you're asked to do is to find the nearest 1/10 of a kilometer. How far is the ship? So here's initial ship. Here's ship 2, right? This is the ship's second position. So you're looking for this right here. Okay, X. Let's just say that's X. So looking for this side right here. Okay, I'll let you guys, that's a good start. You should have everything you need there to solve that. I'll let you guys finish that. All right, so I am displaying right now on my computer the answer to number 8. I'm not showing you up on the board. You're gonna have to watch the video if you want to see the answer to number 8, if you want to see how that's done. But anyways, so we are gonna take a look at 2.6 here right away. So there you go.